Okie dokie, I'm back now, and we're going to be discussing the second part of this three-part video series, ICC profiles, and what the heck are they? Okay, so what is a profile? Well, a profile basically tells the driver, that is the software that controls your particular printer, how to use a very limited set of colors to produce millions of different colors. In fact, with an 8-bit, if you don't know what that means, it's just the capacity of a particular image gamut wise. 8-bit has 16.5 or so million colors and hues and shades, from black all the way to white, everything. A huge global uh, galaxy of colors in just 8-bit, which is what most of us are using. So, how the heck do you produce? Imagine you're an artist, and say, for instance, my 8550 has yellow, magenta, cyan, gray, and then two different blacks. One is glossy, one is matte. One is meant for glossy papers, and the matte black pigment ink is meant for use on matte papers. And they are triggered automatically when you choose a specific paper type. So, how the heck can you do that? Imagine if you were trying to paint something and you have a palette with only, what, 6 colors, two different blacks. Basically, you only have 5 colors, including that single black. Very difficult. It's daunting, actually. So, here's what happens. In order for you to be able to, say, create this so called calibration, for say the 8550 with, I don't know, a glossy, premium glossy from Epson, that will trigger just the clear, shiny black ink and then the other 4 colors. Very limited. You need to ask it to print a set of patches. What are patches? Well, they're just little colored little rectangles. I'm going to show you what that looks like, and it's going to probably do this to you. All right, so I'll be back in 1 second. And there you go. Imagine this. Okay. All of these, and this is only one set of 3. It says 1 of 3 right there. So the total count is like 1,600 color patches. You print this. Remember, I told you when you print letting the driver control color, you have to use this mode called ICM, and that will link that paper type that you chose. Of course, you loaded the same paper on your printer to its built-in profile, ICC profile. We still have no clue how this works, but we just let the driver automatically do that for us, and it will produce a standard image that matches what I showed you earlier. Well, this is a little different. This is going to ask the printer to attempt to produce as accurate as possible renditions of each one of these little squares, times 3 actually. So the way to do that, you have to choose a different mode, and that is not ICM, but off. You're going to use no color adjustment, no color management, whatever the term the driver happens to be using, you turn that off. And now you have to print this using a software that will not introduce any kind of automatic color correction. Most softwares will do that, except for QImage Ultimate. So this is why I use Ultimate constantly for all my printing needs. So I can show you what that looks like. So say, for instance, I want to create a profile using conventional methods. I'm going to first print that. Now I can do it through the spectrophotometer's software. And yeah, doing it that way, all I have to do is tell the driver not to control color. And then the software is not going to introduce any kind of sneaky color adjustments or corrections. Everything's going to be off. The software that I am printing from will turn off color management, and the driver has to be set to no color management as well. We call that printing in raw form. So no adjustments. We want to see exactly what errors the printer will produce. I don't want any entity here to try to stick in, their finger, sneaky finger and try to adjust or overcorrect something. No, I want it to not do anything. I want to see exactly what my printer can do and how accurate it can reproduce that image. So for instance, I am going to set this to letter size. I'm using premium photo paper semi-gloss, so I will use that paper, and I will put 3 sheets on my printer feed tray, and I will go ahead and load this. So we'll start with, say, number 1. See, 1, 2, 3. We're just going to do 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and that will be loaded. Now I can print that. Wait a minute, I better check something. Oh yeah, I have the correct printer chosen, premium photo paper semi-gloss, or it could be some other paper that I am trying to profile from Epson. Or if it's a third-party paper and they told you, hey, when you use our paper and you're going to create a profile or print with it, use premium photo paper semi-gloss. Okay, we know that's going to give you the closest match. It won't be perfect, folks, but it'll be a closest match. So in this case, we're producing a profile with 0 interference from Q image or the driver. We're going to set that setting here. Printer profile off, no profile, nothing, off. Okay, and then let's check the driver, because I don't think I trust it. I think it might be trying to sneak in and advance. Oh, look at that, no color adjustment. Great, we can go ahead and print this. It will be printed, and then we're going to scan it. So we will print it. We will use our fancy spectrophotometer. I have a little tray that holds a piece of paper. It has a little guide for me to do my sliding across. I advance it to the next row. I slide across. Of course, I have pre-calibrated it, and I'm ready to scan. What happens is that each one of those patches, you saw how many there were, will be scanned by a sensor that pulses 200 times a second. So if I go really slow, each one of those patches will receive a certain number of pulses. The more pulses I can accumulate per patch, the more accurate the reading of what the printer produced. It was this color, but the printer produced this, and it differs in what way. So it will scan, 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 and it will then remember every one of those changes that may have taken place because the printer just wasn't able to reproduce all of those colors on its own, with no help from anyone, with just 5 inks. It's really asking too much, isn't it? All right. So in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we'll be done with the scanning of the 3 sheets. And then we tell it create a profile. We give it a name so that we can identify it. Later, it'll 8550. It'll be premium photo paper glossy or luster or whatever. And then it will be saved in a folder deep in your Windows hard drive where all of your ICC profiles have been stored, the ones that were installed when you did the driver installation. And that's it. So that profile now is saved. So now I'm going to use it. How to use that profile. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose an image. Let me see what I have on my desktop here. I should have lots of stuff to print. Click on this one, load it, and now I want to use a profile that I created. Let's see what I have for this. This is premium photo paper semi-gloss. So that's what I load on my printer. So how do I find that profile? Suggest printer profile. And out of the hundreds of profiles that I have installed, look what is at the very top. And that's for the 8550. Click on that, open, and OK. Now I can print that, and it will be a match, period. Okay. So in order to arrive at this, I had to go through a lot of hoops, okay? Remember, I had to print 3 sheets of that paper, and say I want to profile a rather expensive art paper. Well, 50 sheets of that may cost you $150. Yeah. And you're using 3 sheets, so that is $15 worth of paper. Yeah, okay, fine. But, I got a really great profile that matches. I don't mind having spent and spent like 45 minutes creating this profile. So how can I reduce the amount of time that it takes and also how much it's costing me? Because I had to buy that spectral that I just showed you. Don't faint, $1,500. Okay. Now you can get other spectrals for a lot less, but are they as good and as reliable as X-Rite? I cannot vouch for that. Okay. But anyway, you're spending a lot of money on a spectrophotometer just to have the ability to create profiles. But there is a super low cost way to achieve the same goal and give you ICC profiles that will allow you to print beautiful results that match your monitor. Okay. One very important thing that I forgot to mention. So you have 1600 patches. This is the maximum that I have set up my spectrophotometer software to do. You can print more patches than that, sure. 30 something hundred patches. But here's the thing. So you have 1600 patches, but your image can contain 16 million and a half colors. So how can I reproduce those other remaining, I don't know, many million colors correctly? Well, it's looking at all of those different colors and it's interpolating. It is basically guessing using some mathematical equation to be able to figure out, well, Joe printed 1600 patches, but really I know that 16.5 million other colors exist. How can I make sure that those other colors that did not get printed, did not get scanned, can also be adjusted for? Interpolation. So it has to interpolate the hell out of this little set of 1600 patches. And some people only use 400. Yeah, even worse. So what we need is more patches. How can we get as many patches on a single sheet of paper so that then we can go ahead and the software has to interpolate less, which in reality, in the long run, more accuracy. Okay, let me show you what one of those looks like. I'll show you the image. Alrighty, so enter DDI software, and this is called Print Prism. This is the profile chart that you will print. Don't even ask me to count how many little squares there are, but there are almost 10,000 of them. Okay, is that going to be more accurate than just 1600 like I've been using regularly? I have to just print this on one sheet of paper, and then the software will ask me to scan it. And that is the magic that occurs next that makes it totally different than using an expensive spectrophotometer. So we will proceed to load that image in QImage, assign the matching surface properties of a paper that you're using. For example, if you're using a very glossy paper, you're going to choose one of the premium glossy settings. Make sure you always use that setting then afterwards, and then turn color management to off. The driver also automatically will be set to off. There's no need to worry about, oh, did I turn it off? Did I forget? Oh my God. No, it's turned off. Any other software, you'll have to do it manually and remember to do it. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. So both entities are off. You print this chart, and in this case, it's a Photo Glossy 2 for a Canon Pro 200. Oh, did I mention that you can use other printers to do this profiling? Yes. So it doesn't have to be just the 8550. We're going to use the 8550's scanner. Okay. That's the magic. Okay. So here it is. This is printed now. I trimmed the edges so that all we have is a black border. Like so. I'm going to then install it on my scanner. And you may ask, well, wait a minute, that is not a spectrophotometer. What are you talking about? Well, it's not. But when DDI software created this software, he already analyzed the living daylights out of this photo scanner. It's like it's linked now. Again, I'm doing this as layman language as I possibly can. It is now linked. It knows the properties that scanner. It knows how off every one of those little patches or how accurate it is producing a photograph of that set of patches, thousands. Okay, what I mean by that is that those patches were printed raw. So they represent what my Pro 200 by itself can produce. Okay, now it's going to be scanned. They already know the abilities of this scanner, how every one of those patches will be actually reproduced as an image. So there's going to be errors. The software will then analyze that whole image. It will actually select every one of those little square patches and will analyze it and then decide, oh, this one is perfect. Okay, the scanner was able to reproduce this on an image perfectly. No, this one is not perfect. I need to adjust it this way. Oh, this one is slightly the opposite. I need to adjust it this way. And so on and so forth for almost 10,000 of those patches. The result after you create the profile, and it only takes a couple of minutes. Remember I told you it took me 45 minutes to do a 3-sheet profile? Just a matter of minutes. You have to learn the process. That takes a bit of time. Someone as old as me with a decrepit brain like me, it takes a little longer than most younger people. But I got it. And so I'm able to produce beautiful profiles with it. So here's what the process looks like. I'm going to go ahead and go through it right now. So we just open up Print Prism, and up here, we're going to look for our printer. There it is, Epson EcoTank 8550 series. And basically, all you have to do is scan. So we're going to hit scan now, and we're going to do a check to make sure our settings are correctly. So here's my printer connected by USB. This does not have to be selected. Photo mode has to be selected. You have document mode or photo mode. These are the modes that the EcoTank 8550 scanner has. Of course, you lay it down, facing down on the scanner glass. Reflective mode. You cannot scan negatives on this scanner, only reflective material. Color mode, of course, in 300 dpi. Color management, this is the most important setting right here. Set it to none. You see that? Color control is automatic. ICM, remember I told you what that is. And none. Set it to none every single time. This will make sure it is defaulted to that. Thumbnail options, nah, don't worry about that. Leave it as if, and then undo. If this is checked, undo that. Undo thumbnails. And we are ready to roll. As you can see, this is the previous one that I did. We're going to go ahead and give it a preview just for fun to make sure that I didn't lay it down crooked or anything like that. It doesn't really matter too much. There we go. That's actually the straightest I've ever been able to do that. So now we're going to scan it. And during the scanning process, it's going to allow you to do it 3 times. So we're going to do 3 scans, and the software is going to actually stack them on top of each other and combine the results of each one of those 3 scans as one. Scan. Now remember, if you're manually scanning those patches, remember how many rows we had, and you want the sensor to, provide as many pulses as possible. That took seconds. Scan number 2. I would still be on the first row, and I have many, 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 many more to go. That's done. Now it's pass number 3. Okay. Stacked. So Now we just give it a name. Now, what was the name of that? It's already here, so I don't need to redo it. I'm just going to go ahead and overwrite it. So save, overwrite existing filters. Yep, done. Over here, Canon Gloss 2. And that's it. I'm going to choose neutral, normal. And now the fun begins. Detect those corners. Now, what are you doing? How is this going to find and locate a little selection on every one of those little patches? So the creator of this software put those little corner markers, and they are located on the upper left, the lower left, the lower right, and the upper right. So it knows exactly, it can locate those four corners and automatically, because then it knows exactly where each one of those little squares should be located. So we're just going to detect the corners, and it should then place. Look at that. Is that incredible or what? So imagine doing this by hand. So now all of those little squares, everything that was printed on that chart and was scanned, now has been identified, individually identified. Okay? See what I'm saying? Every one of those has been individually identified. This is taking a lot longer explaining it than it actually takes to do. We are ready to produce this profile. I'm going to send it to my folder. That is the color folder inside Windows for all your profiles. And now we just create it. So let's see how long this takes. I'm right here. You see the progression bar right here? This takes about as long, but imagine what is happening behind the scenes. Every one of those little white squares, that is a selection. And the reason it selected everything smack in the middle was because the software identified those four corners. Okay. If for some reason it did not, you can then manually just click on one of these right here and then apply that selection. It'll be a floating selection. You just move it and align it as well as you can on each one of those four corners and automatically recreate what you are seeing right now. So because it's able to select every one of those little squares, it's now able to determine, hey, is this red really accurate? No. Let's make this correction. Well, I have to do this. This is a software talking now. Oh gosh, I gotta do this for almost 10,000 of these. It's gonna take me a few minutes, folks. Go have some tea or coffee, and then I am almost done here. Come back in a couple of minutes and I will be done. Once this is fully done, I should be able to then use that same paper on my Pro 200 and print using that profile. And I'll be able to use other softwares as long as I tell the driver manually not to control color. If you're using QImage, it's automatically done for you. So you would use that same paper, same settings, same ICC profile. In this case, you would then print with the ICC profile instead of being off. We are done. Okay, so we are in QImage. Let's go ahead and choose the Pro 200 right here. The driver only has a glossy photo paper A, but I use that same mode to create that profile chart. So we'll continue using that. And then here it is, look, automatically right there. Pro 200 Canon Glossy 2, that's what I named it. And there it is. So all we have to do now is just, if I want to have a nice little neat border around it, I can just go 1/4 inch and say choose this one, and boom, there we go with a 1/4 inch border all around. And that's it. If I print that, it will match this result right here. All right, so trust me, you will get, see this? That was from this profile I just created. Of course, it was a duplicate. I already had it made. And I got this. You have to see it with full lighting here so you can appreciate what it actually looks like. This is an AI generated image. My friend made this for me. He signed it right here digitally. And there you go. It's a perfect reproduction of what I saw on the monitor. And this image was too saturated for my taste, but it was reproduced accurately. It was not over enhanced like some other results that people may be getting where they are, oh, this looks fantastic, but yeah, it's a little bit more subdued in my monitor. But somehow this got over enhanced. Now, how versatile is this tool? I did something a little bit crazy. Hang on. Some of you may know that I sublimate to aluminum. And the process for that is a little bit different, requires other equipment as well, such as a heat press. Normally, what you get is an over enhancement of what the image actually is. So you are relying on your monitor, super calibrated, beautiful rendition, very accurate, truthful. And you edit something and you print it and then you transfer it to aluminum and it is over enhanced. So the only way, and this happens just because that's what happens. So the only way to maybe, because you're not using a profile, you're just letting the driver control color and using presentation paper matte, because that's what the surface of the transfer paper looks like. So it's matte. Everybody uses presentation paper matte. It has to be on an Epson printer, by the way. So how to combat this ridiculous over enhancement? Create a profile. Has anybody ever done a profile on aluminum? You print it on a transfer paper and then you transfer it over to a sheet of sublimation aluminum. Yikes. You get this. So you get this and you scan this. Put it over there and scan it. And then when you print, you get this. Super accurate rendition of what it is already a very enhanced image, but the image matches my monitor. This print on aluminum is not over enhanced by the sublimation process. It matches what my original image looked like. Oh, yeah, I showed this to the creator of this software, DDI software. His name is Mike Cheney, by the way. He's the creator also of QImage Ultimate, which I religiously use for all my printing. And it blew him away because he said, I think you went way beyond what the, reason for this software was. So I did something that I don't know how many people have actually tried to do. I created a profile for aluminum sublimation. If I can do that, oh, then you can do pretty much anything. Let me show you another crazy thing I did. When I was printing a chart, I only loaded that one sheet of paper and I forgot that I had regular copy paper behind it. It printed both of them. And I forgot what setting that was done on. So I repeated the process, but this time I used plain paper as the paper choice. And then I used that to print. Remember that file that my friend created? Look at that. This is on plain copy paper. Yeah, it doesn't match the beauty of the actual one done on real inkjet paper, but it's true. It's true to the monitor. And that's what counts, even on standard copy paper from CVS. Isn't that something? So let's get to the nitty-gritty now. How do we acquire this? How much does it cost? Let me open up the website. Okay, so just go to ddisoftware.com/printprism/ and you arrive here. So this gives you all the information you need. Now, if you do not own an 8550, which can cost, the cheapest one I've seen is about $500. You could also use, if you have a 8500, which is a smaller version, you can use that as well. The scanners are identical. You can buy a single scanner plus a software for a total of $110. This scanner that they are recommending here has already been profiled or calibrated for use with Print Prism, but there it is. And there are videos that you can watch from the actual programmer, Mike Cheney, how it works. Uh, oh, here you go. 9,261 patches right here. Yeah. Okay, so again, $110 total. Or if you own already an 8550 or an 8500 or a G620 from Canon, all you have to do is spend $35. And now you have the ability to create excellent profiles instead of spending 500 to possibly several $1,000s, depending what level spectrophotometer you like to purchase. All right, so I hope you enjoy this. Again, if you have any questions after this, you can post them below. I will actually address them each one. So again, this is crazy. This came out of the blue, and I have a feeling there's going to be some from these big companies. But they're going to probably shame it, say things, but the truth is in the pudding. You get perfect results. Okay. Of course, calibrate your monitor. That's the most important thing. Okay. Calibrate your monitor, and then what you produce will match it, because the profiles this bit of software produces for you, along with a scanner such as the 8550, it's just simply amazing. Simply amazing. I have been in contact. I've been doing this since the what, like 1999, when the digital world came down on us, up to now. Doing, I was in the development of inkjet printers up to today. So I have a bit of background, and I have been working with people that I consider to be, way above me. And one of them in particular did make a statement to this, right to me personally, that he has this spectrophotometers, and as of yet, he has not seen anything as good as what Print Prism was able to produce. I went, okay. And so I passed that on to the creator, Mike Cheney, and I hope he was a bit impressed by that, because um, that did not come from just some Joe Blow, if you get what I mean. This guy he's been around. So wonderful. Okay, so now you can reach nirvana, literally, by creating your own profiles without going broke. All right. And I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, did I use any fancy language? I'm sorry. I tried to make it as simple as possible. And so that should be. Oh, by the way, let me tell you how we use a spectrophotometer in a medical laboratory. So, say you had a body fluid and they want to measure something like protein levels. So you make these dilutions. They call it tenfold dilutions. You take 1 milliliter, dilute it by 10. Take 1 milliliter of that, dilute it by 10, and again and again and again. So you get the pure, and then 10, then 100, then 10,000, and so on. And then you use a solution that would give it a color. And so depending on the dilution, that, say, bluish tint would become diluted up to the point where you can no longer see it. And use a spectrophotometer to read the actual color of the different dilutions, and it will tell you the wavelength and all of that, and the intensity. So that's the first time I ever heard of a spectrophotometer. And this is long before these instruments such as this one were invented. So spectrophotometers were around for laboratory use to measure color, basically, and also at your paint shop. So they've been around for a while, although they may use a colorimeter. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Please keep coming back for more and more and more informative videos on not only this software, but other topics. So thank you again so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and click that bell. We're trying to get you to keep coming back, and that way you will be notified anytime I upload something new. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Bye-bye, everybody.